And so I tell people, when you start something new, there's going to be times when you feel like you want to quit because things aren't going your way. Don't quit. Keep at it. There's always a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. Just stick with it. We all have those days. There's days where the phone doesn't ring. And what am I going to say? I'm going to quit because the phone didn't ring today. But then I have 5 appointments today. So you take the good with the bad. So I tell everybody, just be patient. Success comes. It does take time, though. Nothing happens overnight. And I've been doing the other business for 14 years. So that tells you longevity on sticking with something.
So welcome everybody back to another video. Today I have Brett here. Brett has been doing extremely well over in Connecticut, which is a closed state. We're going to get all into that today. Brett's going to talk a little bit about his business, a little bit about his experience with fingerprinting classes, a little bit about his experience in fingerprinting in general, his journey, and at the end of it, we're going to tell you a little bit more about his company and how he can help you or how you can help yourself in learning how to do what Brett's doing today. So Brett, without further ado, welcome. How is your day going so far?
My day is going pretty good. I had about 3 customers today. So, and I got 2 more scheduled. So it's kind of a full day for me. So it's going pretty good.
Nice. And is this your office where you're in right now?
That's correct. My office is located in Rocky Hill, Connecticut.
Nice. I know we were talking before this, and I know usually when I do these interviews, it starts off with like a few questions and things like that, but you pretty much rolled right into like, hey, listen, I got 3 appointments and I got 2 more coming, so it's a full day. So I'm sure everybody who's watching this right now is like, okay, they're doing the math in their head. They're like, that's 3, that's another 2 afterwards. This guy's just kind of sitting here hanging out. He's on a YouTube video. He's going to take a few appointments and then, that's it. So how is we'll get into like the whole, how you found out about the industry and all that stuff, but
Sure.
How has like your day-to-day been so far? Like, what does it kind of look like every day? I know you're still kind of starting out a little bit, but how's your progress been so far?
Yeah, so once we got my Google My Business profile up and running, and I started getting some phone calls, and then which was great, and then I did some using the training that you guys offer, so that I knew what to answer, provide the answers to the questions I was getting, and then I use a appointment software, and then I started seeing people bypass the phone call, go right to the appointment software and start booking the appointments. So actually December, because I just started in late November, December looks like I only did about 15 days because then I went on vacation. So I had, I think, maybe 25, 30 appointments
That's good
within that time frame.
Yeah.
And
you're in a closed state.
In a closed state.
Yeah.
And a lot I was when people would call me, they would say, hey, listen, it's going to take forever to go to a police department. That person was rude. It's so nice that you're centrally located and you sound pretty cool. So, I'm definitely going to get my fingerprints with you. So that's what I've been seeing with people. Yeah,
that's it's not just where you are right now. Most people even people that we're not doing interviews like this now, it's a lot of the same journey. It's like they start and they're like, all right, cool, we'll get a website up, we'll get a Google My Business up. Google My Business gets up, it's live, it's verified, and all of a sudden, like the next day, they get a phone call and they're like, what the hell? Like looking at their phone, they're like, who is this? They answer, especially if people put their personal phone up there sometimes, because you're just starting the business. If you put it up there, or if you don't have like an office phone or something like that, people look at their phone, they're like, oh, this is spam. And then they answer like, hello? And it's like, hi, yes, this is so-and-so. Is this, Fingerprints 101? You're like, holy crap, this is a customer. So that's, that's awesome. That's good. And I'm telling you, just, I remember talking about, getting the Google My Business verified. I know there was, sometimes Google can be a pain. Sometimes they auto suspend it, but once you had that rock and rolling, it was really kind of like off to the races. And there's still so much more room for potential. So that's great. What type of appointments have you been like taking so far?
So a regular ink fingerprints is probably the most that I take on the LifeScan machine. I've had probably a good handful of the Florida. For Florida, I've had 2 FINRAs and only 1 background check. So the majority of the people that have been contacting me have been for ink fingerprint that I use the LifeScan and print on the cards for them. But that seems to be the most right now that people are calling me about.
Yeah, so, definitely. That one background check, that was probably FBI background check, right?
That was an FBI, and the gentleman actually worked for Amtrak, and I guess he was being relocated, so Amtrak requested another background with the fingerprints.
It's funny. I never knew that. It's like literally we learn things every single day because there are like hundreds of reasons. There was somebody not too long ago that told me that there was a whole volunteer program starting up in like the city next to them, and it was a federal government like subsidized program. They were looking to hire like a couple of hundred volunteers. Every single volunteer needed a departmental order or an FBI background check. And they got a phone call and they're like, yeah, we're going to need like, over the course of 9 months, probably like 150, FBI background checks. Person on the phone was like, holy crap. Because it's like $90 a piece if they're coming to, or they just do 10 people in a shop. So yeah, it can, some of those phone calls, especially when you get like multiple people at once, it's like, ka-ching, especially if you're the only game in town. So what are you charging typically for like ink or, FINRA or something like that? Like, what does that look like so far with the customers?
Yeah, so what I've, for ink, I'm charging 35, but this week I just wanted to run a special, so I deducted $10 off, just because a lot of the police departments that a lot of the customers go to are charging $25. Yeah. So I just wanted to see if it was a pricing issue, just trying that out there for about a week. And the reason I wanted to drop it too is I got in touch with a past colleague, who is a security director for the Hartford Insurance Company, and the contract security agency he works for in the state of Connecticut and probably a lot of states throughout the United States. You have to have a guard card or a security guard card in order to be a security officer. So with that, they need their fingerprints. And so we were discussing the opportunity between me and that agency to send their new employees over to me to fingerprint them for the guard card. So I'm hoping, it's in the preliminary process right now, but it looks like I'm going to start a walk-in process only on Wednesdays, and see if that helps out a little bit too, because a lot of these new employees that I heard, they're not going on the website. They just want to know, hey, where can I go to get it done? And so I told them, I said, hey, listen, let's just try Wednesdays between certain time, and they can come and get their fingerprints done.
Yeah, it's definitely a good method, because a lot of that is like a lot of it's like referral. Especially with what you're talking about, that's like more of like a business to business transaction, as opposed to like somebody just looking up fingerprinting near me. Usually when people get those, we say like, yeah, maybe charge a little bit less and get that volume, especially as you start to grow. Like once you get, over 25 reviews on the Google My Business, or you revamp the website, or you start making those connections, then it's kind of like you could maybe even slowly trickle up with your, how much you charge. I know here on like PrintScan Long Island, I think they charge like 45 for a card or something like that. And that's like the first 2. But I mean, they've been in business for like 20 years, so, and they're like literally the only ones around here. If police departments are still taking them, that seems like a pretty good method. I mean, whatever you have working right now, it's like, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. But
yeah, I'm just going to give it a shot. For those individuals to come in on a particular day. And they're used to paying the $25, so I said I'd honor that. Yeah,
and the biggest thing is too is like there's nowhere else to go.
No,
right? Like from what you were telling me, like this is literally, it's a necessary service. It's like no fingerprinting locations during the pandemic were really shut down for the most part, unless the business owner chose to shut down. I mean, they were deemed as essential. So people like, it's the same thing here. It's the same thing we talk about with other people. Like people are getting phone calls and like, oh my God, thank God you're an actual person. Like, when can I come in? Most people are like, yeah, come in now. And they're like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. You're like, oh, really fingerprinting. So what is, what's like, something that people are like telling you on the phone when they call or when they like show up or something like
Most of the time, they they're asking me if I actually take fingerprint appointments.
that? Yeah.
And they complain. They mostly complain about, the departments around, the state of Connecticut, and that, they're frustrated, and they didn't know that they could come to me for fingerprints. That was one thing. So the education part of it comes out, and I let them know, and I know that I've reached out to you many times, and I just want to say, hey, thank you so much. You've been awesome, and your team's been awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
So, I mean, you always respond in a timely manner, and it's really helped me, push the business ahead. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and your team for that. So that's how I'm able to answer these questions. So it was obviously, asking you, what should I say? And then I would take that info and tell them.
Yeah, it's funny when we started just this whole program, like fingerprinting classes, like, starting your own fingerprinting business. We didn't realize, because we all knew fingerprint, like everybody, myself, and like the other people that we have on staff, like we all knew pretty much about the industry. But it's like when you know something and you bring somebody else on board that doesn't know it, it's like you kind of forget sometimes how much time you spent learning the business. Like I spent probably, and thank you to PrintScan for taking me under their wing and like kind of showing me, being an intern almost, and showing me like what the business is. If it wasn't for them, I would never know about this. But it took me like 9 months to really even like wrap my head around it. And then it took me even longer than that to be able to like tell other people about it or even like teach it at a basic level. So yeah, we really we do try our best. So I do appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about so you have a PrintScan live scan system. You came to us and you went through the Platinum program, right?
Correct.
So we basically, we kind of help you set up the website, the Google My Business, the marketing, and there's still a lot more room for growth. So tell me a little bit about like your plans for growth in the future. Like, what does that look like? Are you looking for more locations? Are you looking to hire an employee and kind of take yourself out of it? Like, what does that kind of look like for you for your business?
Yeah, pretty much what you just said. So obviously I would love to grow, because that means you're successful. So that's a good word, growth. And I'm looking to grow a little more in Connecticut. So I would look to maybe once this is running efficiently and I can hire somebody, because that's kind of the future for me, to hire somebody and then start another office. I definitely would like to move down to Florida or Arizona, which I know are they two open states?
Yeah, so Arizona is like a little bit of a hybrid. Florida's totally open.
Okay.
Especially if you got the time to go down there. I mean, it's like the wild, wild west for fingerprinting. A little bit competitive, but I mean, you go down there, it's like in some areas, like in Miami, it's kind of like passing McDonald's. Like you see a lot of it. But the thing is, like a lot of them, they don't do like they're not heavy on the marketing. So like some places, even though it's competitive, it's kind of easy to go down there. Like just do the right things, have good customer service, and like you'll be fine. That, and there's plenty of people to fingerprint. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not that scary.
I have family in both states. I have, my father lives, part of the season or part of the year in Florida, and my brother lives in Arizona. So that would only be the reason why I would go to those two states, just because I have family in it.
I mean, that would be perfect. Yeah, it's and it's funny, and we're gonna put a link in the description for your business in case anybody here is listening right now and they're in those areas and they want to reach out about partnerships or maybe anything to help their business grow and your business grow at the same time, or any type of partnership like that. We'll put the link in the description. Fingerprints 101, in the state of Connecticut, looking to branch out. So I'll plug it a little bit for you. But I know we were talking before we started rolling. So you didn't come into this totally fresh minded. You had a little bit of like an inkling of how the fingerprinting process worked in your previous career, right?
Yeah, so I was a law enforcement officer in the city of New Britain, Connecticut, for over 10 years.
Mhm.
And we started obviously with the wet ink fingerprints. So that's how I learned. And I did a lot. New Britain was a busy city for as small as it is. And so I got good pretty quick. And then I saw this big machine come in one day and I'm like, what's this? And they're like, oh, this is the live scan machine. And I'm like, wow, this thing is huge.
Yeah.
Um, and so we trained on it. And then pretty much we're doing all the prints on there. And then, a couple times your supervisor would come back and say, hey, listen, you know, these prints, you got to redo them again.
Yeah.
So we ran into some issues back in the day with the live scan device. But I know through technology, it's a lot better now. But
Yeah. Yeah,
I
definitely. And
probably
it's
fingerprint.
still getting better
Oh
every
yeah,
time we come out with a new model. It's still not even perfect yet. It's still in its growth stage kind of.
of course. Yeah, so I fingerprinted probably over thousands of people.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so fingerprinting someone isn't an issue. It was, getting to know the business because to be honest with you, even though I was a law enforcement, I didn't really know that much about fingerprinting other than, you arrest somebody, you fingerprint them and that's it.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not know until I found you guys that there was such a market for it. Um,
Yeah.
so I
Definitely.
do thank you again. You know, I did see the opportunity in a Facebook ad. That's kind of how this all started for me. So definitely want to thank you on that.
No, yeah, it's our pleasure. I mean, it's funny. Every time we run advertising, we get like so many people that maybe even they just fill out the form just to find out like, hey, is this like legit? Like, don't you have to be like part of the police? Like, don't you have to be like licensed to do this? I always tell people, and it's crazy when we say this to people. We say like, listen, you can have an 18-year-old kid who just graduated high school purchase a live scan machine, and if he has some type of business or marketing chops, create like close to a six-figure business. Listen, it's not going to make you a million, but it's like guaranteed revenue coming in, and once you know how to do it, it's kind of easy for the most part. I mean, you kind of answer the phone, and if the education is the biggest part about it. That's why we focus so heavily on it. But like once you get over that hurdle of just knowing what to answer and what to price yourself at, what services there are, it's really pretty, for the most part. I mean, I would say pretty easy, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. And you put together a good training course. So I have to give you props on that, you and your team. And a lot of good information, very beneficial to the success and the growth. And so that helped me a lot. I go to it as a resource if I get stuck.
Yeah.
And then you guys added the new support features, which is awesome because that's kind of what I look in a company. Because I tried things in the past where, they say all this good stuff and you buy this thing and then you never see them again, you
Yeah,
know?
and then you try to call somebody, it goes straight to voicemail, which may or may not happen with me just because I get a lot of people that call me. But we try. Yeah, sorry, we just launched the live chat support, and I mean, so far, knock on wood, it's been way easier for us and way easier for everybody else. Yeah, we do try to focus on the support pretty heavily. That, and we kind of like everybody that's on the team, we kind of nerd out on this stuff, so it's like kind of fun for us for the most part. Or maybe I shouldn't say like it's exciting when we get a live chat support ticket, but it's like we know the answer and we're like excited to answer it because we're like, oh, this is a good answer. Like this person can make X amount of dollars. Just like tell the customer this, like, charge this much. I remember sometimes people ask a question, they're like, hey, I have a person who needs, and for people listening right now, I'm gonna, give out a scenario like, oh, I need an FBI apostle, I need it for the, country of Spain, I need it translated too. It's like, I look at that and like I'm excited to answer that question, or anybody in the team is excited to answer that question because we know that we're going to tell them to charge, $425 for an FBI apostle and then like $25 of a translation on top of that. And if they get like extra hard copies, it's like 20 per hard copy or something like that. So we know we're going to make them like almost $500. and they don't know that. And we know when we say like, oh yeah, listen, charge $500. Here's the resources. Here's what you have to do. People are like, holy crap, like I could really charge this much. And we're like, oh yes, like go to other businesses and see, you know? So that's like, it's really like the building of the business that we love the process of the most. So we, yeah, we get to enjoy what we do pretty much every day for the most part. That and a lot of people that, you know, come to us, they build their own business. Like we have some people quit their jobs. We have some people who are in the process of quitting their jobs. And it's like, it's good to see that growth because it at least lets us know that we're doing the right thing. So I appreciate all the, you know, the accolades and stuff. We do, we try our best. We do. So thank you.
No, thank you. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in this business, because I do have a past with it, but I also own a seasonal business. I do outdoor movies on big, giant inflatable screens, which only runs from like May to like October. So I needed something to offset my revenue. And I found this through the Facebook ad, and it worked. It's been working out well. So, you know, I get to relax in an office space. You know, I'm now outside in the elements. So that's good. You know, my appointments, you know, it's not a heavy load yet, which I'm okay with, you know, but right now, you know, if I need to go grab something, I can go get something. I don't have to stay in my office.
Right.
At all times. Plus, I got the appointment software that helps me out. So I kind of like this, and the process itself, I'm used to with the customer service. And I just wanted to say, the customer service, if you're looking, you know, to get good reviews, one of the things I use, and again, you could do whatever you need to do, but I offer them some lollipops, and I give them one of my it's the Google review card.
Yes. Yep. Perfect.
So on this.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I'm looking at the camera over here because I have the computer with it. Perfect.
Yeah. So, and it's helped, and I think the lollipop helps the best. But
yeah, I was gonna say it's probably the lollipop.
But no one's
people get a
ever
card, they're like, oh yeah, it's
a lollipop.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. That's
what I do.
Yeah. You know what?
Personable. That's all.
For anybody listening who's like, you know, part of the membership, or, you know, anybody who's looking to do that, lollipop's the way to go. I never thought about it. If it works, keep on doing it. Everybody, I mean, who doesn't love lollipop? You can't, you know.
Yeah. I would specifically say blow pops because there is a prize. You get the bubble gum at the end.
Oh yeah,
so it's like story, you know.
That's awesome. Listen, it's all about good customer service.
That's it. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. You know,
any company.
Yep. You know,
I was gonna say, people are so used to, you know, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Amazon, click of a button, shows up. It's like, it's hard to compete with that stuff sometimes. You know, it definitely is a challenge. But if you can even get close to like that same amount of customer service that everybody, like all the people in the world are used to now, I mean, you're like light years ahead of everybody else. I mean, think about it. You go to the police department, you go for fingerprints. Most of the time, you know, it's the guy behind the desk that like may just tell you like, hey, I come back Tuesday at 2 p.m. or something like that. And then you come back Tuesday at 2 p.m. like, oh, the guy's not here. And you're like, oh goodness, can I just get my freaking prints? You know, please. And it's funny, I know you came from law enforcement background. You know I keep it hush hush too, but that's my current background too. So that's how I got into the whole, you know, industry. So I always make that joke about like, hey, listen, if you want more ink fingerprinting appointments, like just go to your local department with maybe, you know, a box of Joe and some donuts, and, you know, say like, hey, listen, here's my business cards. You know, I'm telling you right now from personal experience, if I was behind the desk and somebody came in and said, hey, I do ink fingerprinting and here's my business cards, by the way, here's some donuts, I would not take offense to it at all. I would take it and I'd be like, oh, this is good. This is good. I'll make sure for everybody.
I totally agree. I never, especially working a road job, this is probably something you're aware of, you know, like a special duty on the road. You'd be amazed at how many people in the city come up to you and say, hey, do you need anything? Do you need a coffee? So, yeah, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's a good idea of going to a police department and give them a special offering and say, hey, this is the services I provide. And I know because I've been there. After a long day, you don't want to be the guy fingerprinting people.
No way. Yeah.
No.
And even now it's like, there's like in the law enforcement world, there's like the changing of the guard. You have all the people with like 20 years on retiring and all the, I still consider myself, I mean, I'm still young, so I'm still technically a rookie at heart, but some people just don't know. Some people like, I've never seen somebody before. I don't know how to do this. Like, come back tomorrow when my FTO is here, please. Something like that. Awesome. Well, listen, is there anything else that you want to plug? I know you spoke about the other seasonal business that you had. Anything at all, for anybody who's watching right now, maybe advice, how to get started about your company? I'll leave the floor open to you for the last few minutes.
Yeah. So something I was told years ago, I got hurt on the job, and that's kind of how I had to retire. And then I opened up that seasonal business that I spoke about. And at that time, which was in 2008, they said to me, it's only going to be a couple of years. And even though, I didn't spring and make tons of money, I stuck to it. There were some difficult times. I was just learning about customers and some of the issues that I had to take, but I stuck with it. And so I tell people, when you start something new, there's going to be times when you feel like you want to quit because things aren't going your way. Don't quit. Keep at it. There's always a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. Just stick with it. We all have those days. There's days where the phone doesn't ring. And what am I going to say? I'm going to quit because the phone didn't ring today. But then I have 5 appointments today. So you take the good with the bad. So I tell everybody, just be patient. Success comes. It does take time, though. Nothing happens overnight. And I've been doing the other business for 14 years. So that tells you longevity on sticking with something. So anybody that's starting new with this business or any business, definitely take your time, be patient, and it'll come.
Love it. Yeah. Excellent advice. We say, we always try to say like consistency matters. Listen, once you have everything, pretty much put in place, all the digital stuff like the website marketing, all that stuff that we go over. Once you have that, it's like, just show up, just show up and give good customer service. Like it will come. And this is an industry that's only really growing right now. I mean, I always say that like the fingerprinting industry, and maybe I'm off with this, but I always say we're like in the span of like the .com bubble almost in like the 90s, except this is not going to burst. It's like, but we're on that like upward trend where it's only going to get more and more, just way more popular. Because right now, to break it down for everybody, like fingerprinting at the end of the day is really a background check. Companies are hiring more people remotely. They're going to need to know like, okay, I see this person on Zoom. He says his name is John Adams, and I believe him, but go get fingerprinted real quick first, so I can make sure you're not a serial killer. And you're hopping on Zoom calls with our clients and stuff like that. So that stuff is becoming super popular, and it's only going up. And so far, I appreciate everything you said good about the program, about fingerprinting classes, your own company. Just congrats on your success so far. It's only going to get better. We'll be here the whole step of the way, and we're excited to see how far it really goes. So again, to leave it off, Brett, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your story. Fingerprints 101 in Connecticut. The link is in the description below, as well as your other business. Would you like to put that there too, and give it a quick plug or anything?
Sure. It's Funflix, FUNFLICKS.com.
Perfect. We'll put that down in the description below. If anybody is interested in starting their own fingerprinting business, or if they already have a fingerprinting business and want to come to us and help us grow it, by all means, that link will be in the description as well. So that's our shameless plug. But thank you very much for hopping on today. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you when we get that second and third location.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dan, for allowing me this time with you. I appreciate that.
No, of course. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.